Hi guys, you are welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, you're welcome. Today's video I'll be showing you guys on how I make this beautiful luxury bubu. It is very easy to make. I use 4 yards of Mikado fabric mixed with damask and rhinestones to make this style. So if this is what you would love to learn how to make, please sit back, relax and enjoy the tutorial. And if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, click the red button down below to subscribe and also click the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you will be notified. So without further ado, let's move right to the tutorial. These are the two fabrics I will be mixing together to achieve the style. On the table, I have leftover damask fabric and 4 yards of Mikado fabric. I'm going to put the damask fabric aside for now, and I'm going to cut my bodice on the Mikado fabric. Firstly, I folded the 4 yards of Mikado fabric selvage to selvage. Then I folded again, making it into 4. From the folded edge, I'm going to split it open. I have for the front and the back bodies. So next I'm going to take it to my ironing table to give it a good press. The one on the table is the front bodies. From the folded edge, I measured 1 inch straight down. I'm going to rule that into a straight line. I'm going to place the back bodies on top, making sure that the folded edge of the back bodies is on the line, and I'm going to pin it down. Place the folded edge of the back bodies on the 1 inch line. Next is to rule my starting line. On the starting line, I impute neck width 3.5 inches, neck depth for the back 1 inch, neck depth for the front 8 inches. Then I connect the necklines. All the measurement is starting from the folded edge of the back bodies. I mark the neck depth on the front bodies as well. From the center back of the back bodies, I measured 28 inches. At that point, I measured 2 inches for my shoulder slope. Then I connect it to the neck width. For the sleeve opening, I measured 14 inches. I join it to the shoulder slope. I came in by 1.5 inches, then I join it back to the sleeve for my sleeve slant. This is optional. Shoulder to my hip line is 25 inches. Shoulder to my knee length is 42 inches, and the length of my dress is 65 inches. I extended all the lines. The lines are shoulder to my hip line, shoulder to my knee line, and shoulder to the length of the dress. On my knee line, I impute my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches ease plus 1 inch side seam allowance. I impute the same measurement at the hem and I connect into a straight line. I also extend the line up to the hip line. Next, between the hip line and the knee line, I find the midpoint and I marked it. From the sleeve slant, I came in by 4 inches. From there, I draw my cowl shape to join with the midpoint between the hip line and the knee line. Please note, you can make the bodice to be bigger than this and also the cowl shape to be bigger than this if you like it that way. Next, I added ½ inch seam allowance to the shoulder before cutting it out. That's about it for the drafting. Next is to cut it out. I'm going to remove the back bodice and continue with the front bodice. From the neck depth where I marked on the front bodice, I'm going to extend it to the neck width. Then I'll cut it out. I'm going to measure from my shoulder to where I want my front slit to start. I measured 40 inches, then I mark it. Then from the folded edge of the front, I'm going to slit it open till the end. Next, I'll take to my sewing machine. I'm going to join from the neckline and stop at where the slit will start from. and I will back stitch 3 to 4 times at that point. Next is to cut facing for the back neckline. After tracing the neckline, then I measured 4 inches all round the neckline. Next is to cut facing for the front neckline. This is the front bodice. I stitch from the neck depth till where my slit will start from. As you can see. So the next thing I will do, I will take it back to the sewing machine. I'm going to sew loose stitches from where the slits will start from. I'll sew it till the end. I'm still going to open it up later. At the beginning of the slit opening, make sure that you back stitch 3 to 4 times. Next, I'm going to open it up, the seam line. I'll open it up this way, then I'll give it a good press. After that, I will overlock the edges and use hemming gum to lay it nice and flat. I've done that. This is how it looks. The part that I sew loose stitches, I'm going to use my seam ripper to loose the thread and stop at where the slit opening will start from. When you get to the slit opening, because you back stitch 3 to 4 times, you will not be able to lose it very easily, so you will stop there. I've gotten to where the slit opening start from. Because I backstitch, it is very thick, so I will stop there. Next is to cut facing for the neckline. The amount of fabric you will be needing for the facing on fold is 10 inches, then the length is 26 inches. On fold is 10 inches, the length is 26 inches. That's the amount of fabric for the facing. So I folded the edges of the facing and the bodice together. And I cut the neckline. After that, I remove the bodice and continue with the facing. I want the facing of the back bodice and the front bodice to align together at the shoulder. That is why I placed the back facing on top of the front facing. So I'm going to mark where the back facing stop at the shoulder. First, I mark the length of the front facing 25 inches. Then I chalk the shoulder measurement of the back facing so that it will align together with the front. Then from that shoulder, I slant it to meet the 25 inches depth of the front facing. Then I cut it out. Next, I place the back bodies of the facing to the front bodies, right side facing each other. I'll take to my sewing machine. I'm going to join them together at the shoulder. I first of all mark ½ inch and I rule that into a straight line. I mark ½ inch on the other side. I rule that into a straight line. After that, I will take to my sewing machine. I'm going to join them together. I'm joining the facing separately, the bodies separately on the shoulder. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the bodies. I'll place the front and the back bodies together, right side facing each other. I'll take to my sewing machine and join them at the shoulder with ½ inch seam allowance. I've joined the bodies together, as you can see. After joining the bodies at the shoulder, I open up the seam. I gave it a good press. After ironing, I overlock the edges, as you can see. Instead of folding in ½ inch on all the edges of the facing and ironing it, I decided to use bias tape to turn the edges, mostly the back, that curved part. Whenever I'm folding it with ½ inch, it doesn't really give me a very nice curve. But when I use bias to turn it, it will give me a perfect curve. That's why I use bias to turn it. Place the right side of the facing to the wrong side of the bodies. Sew the neckline round with ½ inch. After that, notch it and turn it to the right side. I've sewn it. Next, I'm going to notch it. After notching, I'm going to flip it over to the right side and I'm going to take it to my ironing table and give it a good press. After turning to the right side, I'm going to cut pieces of hemming gum underneath the facing. I'm going to iron it down. After that, I'm going to top stitch on the bodies. Make sure that the facing for the front bodies aligns with the center line on the front bodies. It will make your work to look very neat and professional. So when ironing hemming gum to it, make sure that you position the facing for the front to align with the center line on the front bodies. So after that, I'm going to take to my sewing machine and top stitch round the facing. I have top stitched the facing round on the bodies, as you can see. The next thing to do is to start pleating the shoulder. I decided not to fast forward this shoulder part so that you guys can understand it very well. At this point, I've already ironed rhinestones on the facing scantily. So from where the facing stop on the shoulder, I measured 4 inches. Midpoint of 4 inches is 2 inches. I marked 2 inches. Then I pinch on the midpoint and I pin it down, meaning this first fold is 2 inches in length. That is, the height of the pleat is 2 inches. As you can see, towards the lower part, I make sure that it is pencil. I have 2 inches on the shoulder. Towards the lower part, I make it to be tiny. That's for the first pleat. What I'm measuring is where I want this pleat to stop. So I measured from the shoulder line, I measured 9 to 10 inches on the left and on the right. I don't want the pleat length to be too long. Then I folded the pleats. From where I folded the pleats, I measured I measure 6 inches upward. I mark it. Then the midpoint of 6 inches is 3 inches. Then I pinch on the midpoint 3 inches. I folded it. The first fold is smaller than the second fold. At this point, just be creative. Just be creative at this point. I decided to have just 2 pleats. You can have up to 3 pleats, but I decided to have just 2 pleats. This is my first time of trying this style, so I'm just playing around with it. Whatever looks fine as I'm folding, if it looks fine in my eye, that is what I'm doing. So to stitch it down, I decided not to stitch it down from the edge. I came in by 1 inch from the fold, and I took to my sewing machine. I stitched it down on that shoulder line. The stitch did not even show at all. It wasn't obvious. I did the same thing on the first fold as well. Then after that, I folded the hem of the sleeve opening twice, and I repeat the same thing on the other side. Before stitching, I first of all iron it nice and flat. I sprinkle water on it so that the gaiters line will show on the fabric. I iron it nice and flat before taking to my sewing machine to stitch it down. So I repeat this same process on the other side as well. I repeat the same thing on the other side. From where the facing stop, I first of all mark 4 inches. Then I marked midpoint of 4 inches, which is 2 inches. I pinch on the 2 inches midpoint and I pleat and pin. The length of the pleats, I don't want it to be too long. I measured 9 inches for the length of the pleats, then I pin it. From the shoulder seam, from that line on the shoulder, I measured 9 inches on the left, 9 inches on the right, and I pin it. I folded the first pleat. From the folded edge of the first pleat, I measured 6 inches for the second pleat. Then the midpoint of 6 inches is 3 inches. Then I pinch on the midpoint and I fold. Please note, you can pleat it however you like. At this point, you have to be very creative. You can make the pleat to be bigger or smaller. You can make it to be even, anyhow you like it. Just be creative at this point. I will take to my sewing machine. I'm going to stitch on that line, on the shoulder line. I will open it up and stitch it. I will hold the pleat down. It won't even show at all because you are using a matching thread of the matching color of thread for the fabric. So I'm going to hold the pleat down. I'm going to sew it on the shoulder line. Then I'll give it a good press. I hope you guys understand. I've sewn it. This is how it looks. When I was ironing, I make sure that towards the lower part of the pleat, I make sure that it is pencil. What I mean is, the first pleat, which is 2 inches, I did not pleat 2 inches till the end of the pleat. Towards the lower part of the pleat, I make it pencil. So this is how it looks on the wrong side. After ironing and you are satisfied with the way the pleat is, so the next and final step, I'll fold the bodice into 2. I'm going to sew the sides with 1 inch seam allowance. After that, I'll open up the side seam. I'll sprinkle water on it and iron it very well. Then I will weave the sides. After that, I will hem the down part and give it a final good ironing. That's about it for today's tutorial, guys. We've come to an end of today's tutorial. If you find my tutorial helpful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below if you've not done so. I upload weekly tutorial on my channel. Also remember to click on the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you will be notified. Until I come your way next, please stay safe and remain blessed. Thanks for watching. Love you all. Bye.